What is up? Coach Emma here, and welcome back to the Fit Habit Life podcast, where we cut through the noise, talk real health and fitness, sustainable fat loss, and habits that actually work. And on today's episode, I will be talking about tech. Does it actually help your results or hurt your results? So stay tuned. But before we dig in, just wanted to thank you guys for listening. If you've been enjoying the show, consistently listening to the show, if you could share the show, rate the show, or subscribe, that would just really help me get in front of more people, which would help me help more people, which is the goal of this show. So thank you for listening. But yeah, that's kind of the gist. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys an update on my husband. So if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know, for the past year, like if you've been listening since we've kind of started the show, you know my husband has had some health issues. We finally figured out what it was. I will have him on an episode, probably, if not this week, next week, or we'll record it and then we'll publish it. So for those of you who don't know, he had sleep issues, chronic fatigue, brain fog, low energy, difficulty remembering things. He has some skin issues as well, and a slight tremor. And there's probably a couple other symptoms I can't think of. But anyway, so we thought he just wasn't sleeping well. He got a septoplasty because he had a deviated septum. So he had a nose operation to fix, basically his nasal passage was clogged up by the structure of his nose, and we fixed that. That did not help his sleep at all. We even did sleep studies. His sleep is great. I mean, it might be great. We don't know. We did labs and a Dutch test, and he had a dysregulated circadian rhythm. So he had like high energy in the evening and lower energy in the morning. We resolved that, I'd say, through lifestyle changes, where he's like, now we're on a consistent sleep schedule. He's getting daily sunlight and walks. He's training consistently. His diet is really dialed in. Probably better than 90+% of people, or more actually, because 93% of the population is metabolically unhealthy. So anyway, so we did all that. We had blood work done. His testosterone was mid-range, kind of low for his age. So we're like, okay, that's an indication something's going on, but he shouldn't go on hormone replacement because at the time he was 25. So that would be crazy. So we did gut testing, and we found out he had gut dysbiosis, and so did I, which means he had an overgrowth of bad bacteria in his gut, and so did I. He was also not producing enough digestive enzymes because his body was overstressed, and now we know why he was overstressed. But we addressed that gut issue. We spent probably 6 months last year, from like May through like September, maybe October-ish even, kind of addressing it and trying to resolve it. And he felt better, but he was still having a lot of those same issues, just less bad. So we've consistently been trying to figure out, like we did another GI map. It was quite a bit better than the first, and usually people have some sort of dysbiosis. GI maps aren't precise or accurate, and I believe we had gotten back from a trip, so that could kind of skew some of the results. But anyway, so we got labs drawn, and we're like, you know what? He might have mold. So we got a fancy mold test called a mycotoxin test done. They're very pricey. This is not something I would recommend right off the bat. He has mold. He is extremely moldy. He has like all of them are red. Like he has the range is like light pink to like super dark red. He is like super dark red for like all of them. And there was indication that we might have some in our house, which sucks because we just got this house a year ago. But yeah, he's super moldy, and we think he was exposed to this as a child because he's had these symptoms forever. He had a compromised immune system from birth because he was born through C-section, which, if you don't know, when you're born, if you go through your mother's vaginal canal, you get important microbes that help you build your body's immune system. So if you're not born through that way, you don't get them. So basically what he needed to start strong from birth, he did not get. And it's not his fault or his mom's fault. They had birth complications, right? That's pretty common. So he didn't have that. And they thought he had allergies, so he was inundated with a lot of antibiotics as a young kid, which also compromises your gut integrity and your immune system. So we think, as a child, as a baby, he was exposed to mold, and because he had a compromised immune system, his body was not capable of detoxing that mold. That's what we're thinking. So anyway, we think he has mold inside of him. So now I call him Moldy Joe. It's just fun to say. It's not funny, but given how bad mold is for you, given he does not have cancer, he is not dead. This is the best case scenario. We've figured out what it is. We're meeting with a functional doctor this week and getting our house thoroughly checked for mold with a dog. A dog is coming to our house to check our house for mold, to address the problem. So we will talk more about this when he comes on the episode, but I just wanted to give you guys an update if you've been following along at all to that thread. And just in general, mold is not the first thing I would test for. And that's why I want to have him on. I'm going to walk through the steps that I do with a client because anyway, we're going to save that for another time. But stay tuned because that will be coming soon. And if you're interested, shoot me a message on Instagram and we can kind of chat about it. If you think you might have mold given your symptoms or somebody else might have mold or whatever, and what I would do about it as a coach. But anyway, this conversation today is about technology. Is it more harmful or helpful? So, there's a variety of different tools nowadays, which is super cool, right? You could get an Oura ring that tracks your sleep and heart rate and steps and recovery and strain and all the fun things. You can get a Whoop, which is this band that just sits on your wrist that does the same thing, so to speak. Or you could get a smartwatch like I have that does kind of the same thing. Or something like a Garmin or I can't think of other smartwatches nowadays. Or you can even get a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor, which basically is just a patch that sits on your arm that monitors your blood sugar throughout the day and will notify you usually on an app on your phone to tell you your blood sugar spiked, yada yada. What other tech do we have? Even there's beds. You can get pads on the bed that adjust to your body's temperature throughout the night to help improve your quality of sleep, and they also rate your sleep quality. This stuff is super cool. It is super handy sometimes. If used in the right context, with the right people, for the right thing, they can be very helpful. But what I've noticed with the type of clients that I tend to coach is we fixate too much on the data. So, in general, I like smartwatches for step counts. That is it. Calories burned do not matter at all. They don't really tell you much, just tells you your heart rate was elevated. But depending on how well you slept, what else you did throughout the day, and how much you move throughout the day, just what else you do throughout the day, that could drastically change. So, calories burned don't matter. What I've also noticed with the type of clients that I coach, because they tend to be like me, is we fixate too much on the numbers that we can get worse results. So, personal anecdote here. I had a Whoop. For a hot minute, probably. It was right before I got married to my husband. And wedding, very stressful. I've talked about it a lot. I lost my cycle. My gut health was ridiculous. I could not eat anything. And then we came back from the honeymoon and everything was fixed. It was magical. Nope, stress was gone. That's what it was. But anyway, so I had a Whoop and my sleep score was pretty good. All of a sudden, it's getting really bad. And so I start stressing about the sleep score. And it kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop wearing this. My sleep improved immediately. So I've noticed that people fixate too much on the data, which is sometimes why I might not even have a client weigh themselves daily. Depends on the client, because as a coach, it's super helpful for me to have data. And I've broke the impact that the scale has on me personally to where I'm like, it's a data point. I'm like, I don't like to see it jump up too much because that's an indicator that I'm too inflamed. I still struggle with it sometimes, but I don't let it impact my day-to-day actions is the key. Where there are some clients that either before they start working with me or sometimes still, the scale will spike. They will cut their calories drastically that next day. And depending on what we're working on, that's going to be really counterproductive. Usually creates a sort of binge and restrict cycle, which is stressful on the body, which will cause more inflammation, and also very counterproductive because usually this happens when sleep is poor, stress is elevated, and cutting calories drastically, that's not going to help any of that. So, all in all, some of these tools can be useful. Like I said, I want everybody to have some type of pedometer because most people are not aware of how much they're moving throughout the day. And it's a huge game changer. Once you pay attention to that, you'll be more mindful about getting more movement in throughout the day, which most people need. But if you're focusing too much on the recovery scores, the number on the scale, and those stupid smart, quote unquote, smart scales, they're super inaccurate. I've had clients that tell me my body fat percentage jumped 5% overnight. We're doing the wrong thing. No! Those things are crap. They're complete crap. They are not anything worth spending any money on. If you use it once a month, it can kind of be a trend monitor, but it's really inaccurate. And I've seen so many clients get in their own way when they're consistently using something like that to where it's more counterproductive than it is helpful. And oftentimes with the cooler, quote unquote, cooler, like smart tools, clients hyperfixate on them because they're advertised as being precise and accurate and super helpful and useful, but they stop focusing on what actually matters, like the strength in the gym, energy levels, sleep, recovery, digestion, stress management, or overall feeling of stress, natural hunger signals, and libido. So, smart tools, if you don't have some type of pedometer, I would recommend getting a smartwatch and just start tracking how much you're moving throughout the day if you don't do that already. But if you do, then that's kind of all you need. That's all I use mine for. I don't really worry about calories burned at all. At all. Because that's not accurate. And the calories you burn in a workout don't matter anyway. It's the adaptation you're sending your body that matters. It's the strength that matters. So, stop focusing on calories burned, on sleep scores, on, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something else. On body fat percentage from an at-home smart scale. The things that matter. Progress photos taken once every couple weeks, once a month. Waist measurement. How your clothes fit. Strength in the gym. That's a huge one. And those biofeedbacks that I just talked about. Focus more on that. instead of the actual precise data points. But as I said, they're trends, so they can be useful if you use them as trends. But again, if you're hyperfixated on those values and on those numbers, it's not going to serve you. And it didn't serve me. That's why I got rid of it. I use this Apple Watch for steps. Like, that's pretty much it. And again, it's because I hyperfixate on things. I think I'm in a better headspace now than I was about 2-3-ish years ago, but I still know myself, and I know it's probably not going to really serve me that much. So why waste my money and time using something like that? Whereas I took progress photos today, and my waist was down today, and I felt really good. I'm like, that's a better measure of the progress that I'm making versus some arbitrary sleep score or body fat percentage from a quote-unquote smart scale. So hopefully this episode was helpful. Hopefully it helped you learn what to actually focus on and helped you kind of start to think about, like, what are you maybe hyperfixating on that isn't actually serving you? So anyway, smart devices, wearable technology can be super helpful and beneficial, but it can also be super harmful. So just make sure you're using it properly. If you notice you're hyperfixating on something, stop measuring it. Stop tracking it. Because you're not going to do what you need to do to get the results that you need if you're fixating on that thing, because you might be more reactive instead of proactive. Like I said, if you have a plan, your coach outlines a plan for you, stick to that plan. If the scale fluctuates, that's part of it. It's going to. If the sleep score changes one night, that's okay. If you feel a little bit puffier one day, that's okay. Don't hyperfixate on these metrics. Focus on what really matters, and you will get there. Focus more on those habits and behaviors as well. And that's where I see these are most harmful, is people will shift what the goal is and the habits and behaviors to get that data point to shift up and down. But that might not get you to where you need sustainably. So anyway, that's all. Thank you for listening. And if this episode was at all helpful, please rate the show, share the show, and subscribe. It just helps me get in front of more people, which helps me help more people, which is the goal of this show. So anyway, hope you guys have a great one, and I'll I will talk with you later. Peace.